all of you have chosen this particular subject. That is why you're in the first year, second year of your program, and you must learn your basics well. You must ensure that all of you become good doctors in the future. But you will not be able to be you will not be able to maximize your credentials as doctors in the future. You will not be able to be in a position where you will have maximum outreach if you do not work on your professional and personal development. Developing your personality is a very important part of this. Uh, Good to see Mahesh is with us today. He is an old timer. Hi Mahesh, how are you? Good to have you with us. Now, you will see that as we go by, as we as we progress in life, all of us are known by the kind of people that we are, and therefore what kind of people we are is basically a reflection of your personality, isn't it? Now, last year we had done, I think, 8 sessions, full day workshop with students of your college, our college. And I remember we had a wonderful time. We were just coming out of COVID. It was the first completely offline activity that we had done, and it had a lot of resonance. Mahesh and some others were part of that event, I remember distinctly, and we had a wonder time together. This year is basically for those who've joined fresh and those of you who've now moved on to the next year. This year basically is like a foundation year, because now the the pandemic is behind us, and while COVID is still in the air, it's no more a pandemic, and therefore now you're back to engaging with people on an everyday basis more than ever before. And that's where I think now you have to start working on your professional skills and start developing your personality. Now, what is personality? Now, this is, many people will tell you many things. I will tell you very briefly, and you can make a note of it somewhere if you like. Personality is a sum total of all your virtues. That's what personality is. Simple. Sum total of all your qualities, virtues, qualities. That's what your personality is. And within brackets, vices too. VICES, vices too, which means, you know, whatever negative traits you have are also part of your personality. That is why you should always try to maximize the positive traits that you possess and minimize the negative traits that you may have. That's really what personality is all about. And developing personality, we keep talking about personality development.
Okay.
Personality development is all about maximizing the positive qualities that you have and minimizing the negative qualities that you might have. So that's, once you do that, you know what your personality is. And that's what personality is all about. So having given you that context, having explained to you what personality is, I think now we will now proceed to sharing something which I think will be of a lot of help to you. As you are now uh, in the middle of your sessions, how do you turn any obstacles that you might have in your life, maybe in your workspace, maybe in your personal life? How do you turn obstacles into opportunities? Our first session today, and after this first session, we'll take a short break, and then again we'll come back for a second session. Will be all about our understanding, turning your obstacles into opportunities. Now, here, this is the first slide that I have got in front of me. Can some of you type on the chat box whether you can see this first slide or not? Yes or a no. So I know that the slide is visible on your monitors, on your screens, on your mobile phones, or wherever else you may have logged in from. Okay, so I've got 3 or 4 or 5 heads up. Great. I think that you're able to see the slide. Okay. Now, let me also explain to you another thing. I'm trying to put this on slide mode, but I know when I put it on slide mode, sometimes our laptop is not able to keep track of Zoom because of the connectivity issue. But I'll try. I will try, but it's not something that may work. Let's see. Slideshow. Okay. Okay, so I put this on slide show mode now. The problem is I will not be able to read your messages anymore. That's okay, we will do it later. You know, turning obstacles into opportunities is something we all have to deal with in life. This is part of what life throws at us. This is what life is all about. Because everybody you know in your life, everybody you know, may or would have to have at some point of time or the other have had to look at a setback, a failure, an obstacle. How do you convert your setbacks into comebacks? How do you turn your obstacles into opportunities? This session, which is really all about imbibing professional skills, all about imbibing life skills, is about turning your obstacles into opportunities. Let's see how we do that. First things first, my beloved students, start practicing living in the present tense and not tense in the present. You see, we are all worried about something or the other, and most of the times what we are worried about may be something unknown, maybe something that I'm sorry, I think we've just gone off elsewhere. Yeah, let's come here back. Sorry, I just moved a few slides by mistake. You see, there is always some reason or the other to be unhappy about. There is always some reason or the other for which you might feel tense. It can happen, it does happen. It happens to all of us. But when you start controlling your thoughts, or when you start practicing that process, automatically a lot of things start falling into place. You start wondering about, how am I going to finish this course? How am I going to finish my assignments? You've got examinations coming up. Am I going to do well or not going to do well? I'm not prepared. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Heavens will not fall on you. So start living in the present tense. Start practicing what you can do today rather than worry about what could have been. Right now, you're online with me. You've given me your time. First thing on a Monday morning, after a weekend, you're fresh. You should now live in the present and start focusing on the program that we're delivering online today. Because when you give your best to your present, automatically your future is taken care of. So living in the present tense and not tense in the present is something that you start developing from now. Okay? Don't take too much tension. Don't take too much pressure. When you take too much pressure, the pressure also becomes a party, an opposition party, and it makes bad things worse and worse things worse. Be aware of your situation, be alert to your situation, but taking pressure is not the solution. Learn to handle your stress, learn to handle it well. And the first thing you can do, how do you handle stress? It's very simple for someone to come and tell you, don't take so much tension. Very easy to say it, very difficult to do it. How do you start? You have to start somewhere, right? How do you start? You start by telling yourself, let me not be tense. Let me not be tense in the present. Let me not worry too much. Let me worry, but let me try to look at solutions. Let me also be positive. Let me also not think too much. And let me do what I can do now. Because if you start doing what you need to do now, and automatically the future is taken. So on that note, first things first, I keep telling you stories. Last time when you were here, I told you a story. Today also I'm going to tell you, in fact, two stories, very short stories, very brief stories, but you will love them. I think stories speak much more than boring lectures or PPTs. So this Zen story, there's an old Zen story about a king whose people had grown very soft, laid back, and entitled. And the king, he was very dissatisfied with this state of affairs. And he decided, or rather, he hoped that he would teach them a lesson, teach, his people a lesson. His plan, his plan was simple. There is always strength in simplicity. They say, they say there is a lot of strength in simplicity. So his plan was simple. He would place a large boulder in the middle of the main road, a large boulder, a huge stone in the middle of the main road, completely blocking entry into the city. And he would then hide somewhere nearby and observe their reactions of his people. This really was the plan, the simple plan that he had, because he wanted to teach them a lesson because they had become lazy, they had become casual, they'd become careless, they'd grown soft and entitled, and they'd taken everything for granted around them. Sometimes we do, isn't it? Sometimes we take things for granted. Later on, we regret. This is something that had happened in that kingdom. Now, what did the king want to observe when he put that huge stone, a boulder, in the middle of the main road? What did he want to observe? He had obviously blocked the entry into the city. When he had blocked the entry into the city, naturally, he had also blocked the exit from the city, right? So he just wanted to check how would they respond. Would they band together to remove it? Would they come together, become united and remove this? Or would they get discouraged, quit, and go back home? How would his people, how would uh, the team, how would his, his lovely people of the kingdom, how would they react to such a situation, to such an impediment, to such a huge boulder in the middle of the road? Now, after this was done, and he was hiding somewhere nearby to check their response, with growing disappointment, with growing disappointment, the king watched as subject after subject, person after person, individual after individual, came to this obstacle, to this impediment, and turned away. Nobody really tried to remove this huge boulder from from the main road. I mean, forget what this story is all about. Just a small deviation. Today, if you are going to college and there is this huge pothole somewhere, and some car is stuck in that pothole, would you wait? Would you get off from your transport and go and help to ensure that this particular vehicle which is stuck is out of the rut? No, you won't. You will possibly tell yourself, I'm getting late for college. Let me carry on and reach college on time so that my faculty, they don't scold me. So this is typically what happens today also. But this is at a different era. This is at a different time. And what we are trying to explain here is slightly different from what my current example is. So, like I said, the king watched in disappointment as subject after subject came to this impediment and turned away, or at best, tried half heartedly before giving up. Many openly complained or cursed the king or fortune or bemoaned the inconvenience but, or their bad luck, but none managed to do anything about it. Nobody managed to do anything about it because nobody tried to do anything about it. After several days, a lone farmer came along on his way into the town. He was trying to get into the town. When he saw this impediment, he did not turn away. Now, listen, from here on, you should listen carefully. He did not turn away. Instead, he strained and tried to push it out of the way. He put in that effort, but he did not succeed. He did not succeed. Then an idea struck him. An idea came to him all of a sudden. He scrambled into the nearby woods to find something, maybe a large stick or something, that he could use for leverage. Leverage is an engineering concept, it's a science concept. You know you can use leverage. That's how you open doors, that's how you shut doors, right? By using a leverage. Finally, he returned with a large branch he had crafted into a lever, and large branch of tree that he had crafted into a lever, and deployed it to dislodge the massive rock from the road. Beneath the rock were a purse of gold that the king had kept and a note from the king which said, the obstacle in the path becomes your path. As you can see on the slide, never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our condition. Every obstacle in our life gives you an opportunity to improve your condition. Never look at your challenges, my dear students, never look at your challenges as impossible situation. Never look at any of these setbacks that you might receive in life as difficult situations. None of them are. Let me assure you that every situation, every problem that you face in your life is an opportunity for you to come out stronger, better, and more empowered. And needless to say, victorious too. So whenever there's an obstacle in the path, make that your path. Never forget, your every obstacle that you face in your life is an opportunity to improve your condition, to enhance your condition, to get better at your craft, to make it more worthy, and to ensure that everything works out for you for the better. And now I will tell you my last story for the day. Maybe one on Dhirubhai I might tell you later, that I have not yet decided. But this is a story which I feel is going to be of immense relevance for you. Particularly if you remember last time when you were around, we spoke about how and why you are in a noble profession, because you're saving lives, you're impacting patients. You are the reason why we have a better society. You know, you are part of a system that contributes to the welfare of our society. It's a it's a priceless. It could be thankless, but it is also the most noble of all professions. I keep talking about it because I want you to remember this, that you're in a very noble profession. and therefore your thoughts should also be governed in similar fashion. Now, the story on Mahabharata, I want to talk about it, and this is going to take about 5 to 6 minutes, maybe. But for these next 5 to 6 minutes, I really want you to listen. Supposing you miss something, please let me know. Okay, you can write on the chat box. You can unmute yourself and ask me to repeat. But please try to get this story in place, because when you do, I think you will be able to understand what I am trying to convey through this story, and something which you will remember, I'm sure, for the rest of your lives. The story from the Mahabharata is about Arjun and Krishna, Lord Krishna and Arjun. Uh, once, Arjun once asked Krishna, Lord, dear Lord, why do people consider Karna more generous than Yudhishthir? Neither has ever refused whatever has been asked for, nor whoever has asked. So why is then Karna considered greater than Yudhishthir? Both are very noble men, both probably the most generous people that existed at that point of time. Now, when this question was asked by Arjun to Sri Krishna, the Lord said with a smile, Come, I will show you why. Disguised as Brahmins, as was the case in those days, they first went to Yudhishthir's court and asked for sandalwood sticks to conduct yagna. Now, Brahmins those days used to conduct yagna for the welfare of the society. It was supposed to be an auspicious thing to do. The king immediately sent his soldiers to all parts of his kingdom in search of sandalwood sticks. It was monsoon, and the trees were all drenched, and the soldiers returned with wet sandalwood pieces. Obviously, yagna was not going to be possible with the wet sticks. Nonetheless, the two Brahmins, Krishna and Arjuna, disguised as Brahmins, thanked the king for his magnanimity and proceeded to Karna's court. Now, when they proceeded to Karna's court, they asked for the same sticks. Karna thought for a while and said, As it is raining for several days now, it will be impossible to collect dry sandalwood sticks. But there is a way. Please wait for a while. There is a way. Please wait for a while. Saying this, Karna proceeded to chop and cut down the doors and windows of the court, which were made of sandalwood, and after making them into pieces, gifted the dry sandalwood sticks to the Brahmins, so that the yagna could be conducted, to conduct the yagna. They accepted the offerings and went back. On their way back, Krishna asked Arjun, now this is the part you must listen to with intent. Do you realize the difference between the two Arjun? Had we asked Yudhishthir to give his doors and windows for us to conduct yagna, he would have done it without a second thought. But he did not think of it himself. He did not think of it himself. Had we asked Yudhishthir, please give us your doors and windows that are made of sandalwood stick, he would have happily done it. He would have gladly done it. No questions asked. But he did not think of it himself. We did not ask Karna either. Yudhishthir gave because that was his dharma. And Karma gave, and Karna gave because he loves to give. This is the difference between the two. And that is why Karna is considered greater. Whatever work you do, my friends, it becomes nobler when you do it with love. You are in a profession, my dear friends, where you shouldn't just do it because you're supposed to do it. You must do it with love, with a sense of duty, with a sense of obligation, and with a sense of doing good to the world around us. You know, people work with different attitudes because somebody asked you to, you work. For example, you have joined this webinar today, right? This is a 2 hour webinar. You've joined this webinar. You've joined this webinar because you truly believe that because somebody's asked you to, let's say, uh, because somebody's asked you to join, you join. You know, you got a notification in the group, somebody's asked you to join, and therefore you join the webinar. That is one way of doing it. Okay. Another way of doing it would be as a duty. You feel it's your duty. You're part of the college. The college has organized this webinar for you. And because this college has organized this webinar for you, it is your duty to join. It is your duty to join. So you do it as a part of your duty. Or as your dharma, you might feel, no, I think when such an interesting session, hopefully interesting, when such an interesting session has been organized, we must uh, we must ensure that we join, and we should. After all, this has been organized for our career. After all, this has been organized for our good, for our greater good. That is why we should join, because if we join, we will probably learn something. That could be the third reason. So first reason, because somebody has asked you to. Second reason, as an obligation, as a duty that you should, you must as a student. Three, because you feel it's your responsibility as a student to make use of whatever opportunities the college gives you. But four, or final, as Karna did, out of love for doing the job. You've joined this session not for marks, not really because of obligation, not because you're supposed to, out of love for learning something that could be of use to you in the times to come. That really is the essence of the story. Whatever you do, you should do it for the love of it. When you do it for the love of it, my beloved students, I'm sure you can make the most of it, and you can really be champions of what you are. So I hope with this brief story, I've been able to tell you the importance of doing whatever you do with love. Because when you do it with love, you get better at it. When you give your heart and soul into something, automatically you get better at it. All right. So on that note, I want to just quickly stop sharing this, and I want to come back uh, to a medium where Dr. Meenal, I would like my beloved students to ask me if there are any questions at this stage that they would like to ask. Otherwise, I would request some of you to tell me a little bit about yourselves. I think we'll try to make this a little interactive. I'm not going to take any names, don't worry. So you don't need to log off from your systems. But you know, Mahesh, are you with us? Because Mahesh was here last time also. 1 year ago, I had met Mahesh. I remember. Mahesh, are you with us today? Can you give me a yes or a no? Okay. So I think he's logged in, but he's not with us. Okay. Those of you who have been able to relate to the story, those of you who understood the story and the importance of the story, can you please type yes on the chat box? I will not ask you to speak. Can you just simply type yes on the chat box? So I know that this has actually made a difference to you all. Yeah. Can you please? I'm waiting to at least have some response. Have you been able to follow the story, or should I again say it in a brief manner? Okay, 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 okay. So great. I think now we have some response from Shreyas, Sarita, Sridhar, and Rameshwar. Good to have at least some response. Shakshi as well. Okay, Sneha. Great, super. Thank you, thank you. Uh, Now, if some of you are in a position, I would like you to tell me, why have you chosen to do this course? What is the reason? What is the purpose for having chosen to do this course? And what are the difficulties that you're facing right now? Are you facing any difficulties? If you can talk about it, it would be nice. Anybody wants to volunteer? Anybody who wants to be the first person to come and speak about it? Uh, this Shraddha we said, yes, Harshita. Don't worry, I will not ask, I will not take names and ask you to speak out of turn. I won't do that. I want you to speak only if you're comfortable. Otherwise, I don't want to unnecessarily bother you. I know some of you are having connectivity issues also. That is why you're getting logged off, and again you're having to log in. Internet can be an issue. Okay, so let me do it this way. Let me continue with the slide. Yeah. Anybody wants to say anything? Okay. So let me continue with this presentation show. Oh, thank you, Sridhar. Thank you very much. It is actually a two-way process. Uh, I truly believe that uh, any such program like this only works when it's an interactive, and that's why I keep having these short sessions, because I know too much of conversation can be an overdose. So let me go back to sharing the screen, and let me try to make this a full presentation. Yes. Now, quickly, for the next few minutes, I will explain to you some of the other things which I think will be very handy for you. At this stage, I have a request. If you have a pen and a paper handy, it would be nice, because some of the things which I'm going to tell you, either you can take screenshots or you have a pen and paper handy. It will really help you. So now it's all about living life to the hilt. And how do you do that? You do that by living life to the hilt. Now, what is hilt? Hilt, the English meaning you can check on the dictionary, but my meaning of hilt is this: health, introspection, learning, and therefore the resultant transformation. Health, introspection, learning, and transformation. Hilt, according to me. Health is not just your physical health. You know, you could have somebody going to a gym and a very gym toned body, yet such a person could be most unhealthy because the person is not mentally at peace, may not be mentally happy, maybe having too much pressure in life, and may not be able to cope with it. So health is not just physical health, but mental health too. Then you have introspection. All the time you should be asking yourself this question, and you are answerable only to yourselves. Am I really doing the right things in life? Am I ticking the right boxes? Am I doing whatever it takes to ensure everything is in place? Or am I just moving along just for the sake of it? So health and introspection are two very important aspects. And then learning. See, learning and knowledge is different from studying for exams. Studying from a book because you have to crack an exam or you have to get good marks is only studying. It may be learning, it may not be learning. Learning is learning from life's experiences as they come and hit you, or sometimes as you go and face up to them. So health, introspection, learning, and therefore transformation. When you look after your health, when you're able to introspect well, when you're learning all the time, automatically you will be transformed. And transformations, all transformations are always for the better. Like I said, health includes physical health and mental health, which is emotional health. But it also includes spiritual and social health. When I mean social health, when I say social health, what I mean is your relationships with others around you also contributes to your happiness or to your well-being. Therefore, I always say, do not fight much. What is the point? It's one life. Don't have grudges. Don't hold grudges against people. What is, you know, nobody actually comes out a winner when you're holding grudges against each other. So I would request you not to hold grudges, even if you agree to disagree sometimes, and you may not agree with everybody. You may not get along with everybody. That is fine. It can happen. Nobody can get along with everybody. It's okay. But don't hold grudges. Don't don't unnecessarily hold grudges against each other. Is something which I would like to tell you, and that will contribute to your social health. If you're having turbulent relationships with your parents, or if somebody is very strict at home and you don't like that part of it, learn to deal with it better rather than letting it get onto you. You can do that by engaging in dialogue, by understanding why the person is strict in the first place. And sometimes it's just a person's nature. She or he cannot help it. You will always find there are teachers who are very, very strict. There are teachers who are not so strict. And there are teachers who are absolutely cool. That is their nature. They cannot help it. So you have to put that in the perspective that this is not something which is personally a thing against me, but this is just the way the person is. If you accept that, you will be able to deal with it better. And look, whether you're a religious person or not, it's something which is purely your personal take. And I don't want to get into that area. But you should always ensure wellness in terms of spirituality. In terms of, spiritual health is not just about going to a temple or a church or a masjid and praying. It's about ensuring that you're able to look at life from a very, very uh, dispassionate and neutral perspective that really uh, aids your spiritual health. It's about accepting all the difficulties that life throws at you and not getting too excited about all the good things that happen to you. This kind of equanimity, this kind of wellness, this kind of spending time with yourself where you lower your expectations from people around you, you stop judging people for what they are, you start living instead of just being. When you do that, you automatically you're working on your spiritual health. I've said this very casually to you, but I hope you'll remember this, my beloved students. Start living, not just being. All of us are there because we are meant to be there. Can we start living? Can we start making our lives more fruitful? Can we start making our lives more meaningful? If you can do that, well, so much can happen. The best time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining and not when it is raining. Don't wait for a disaster to happen and then you wake up. In India, unfortunately, we are always waiting for the worst to happen. For example, a bridge has to collapse. Only then we will realize that bridges are not safe. Why do we have to wait for a bridge to collapse? Tell me, my beloved students. Why do we have to wait for a problem to happen and then look around for solutions? Why can't we stop it from collapsing in the first place by doing whatever it takes, by taking preemptive measures? And that is really something that I think you should work on, even on your own selves, because they say charity begins at home. Look at what are your areas of improvement and don't wait for something to really go wrong and then start making those improvements. Don't wait for your health to become so bad that you land up in a hospital and then you start working on it. Start working on it from now so that you are a healthier you tomorrow and day after. That really is your future. So stop procrastinating. There are some people who believe जो आज करे सो कल करे, जो कल करे सो परसों, इतना भी क्या जल्दी है यारो, जब जीने इतने बरसों. There are some people who are like this only. जो आज करे सो कल, जो कल करे सो परसों, इतना भी क्या जल्दी है यारो, जब जीने इतने परसों. Rather, your approach in life should be, जो कल करे सो आज, जो आज करे सो अभी. Living in the present, like I said at the start. जो अभी कर सकते हो वो बात के लिए मत रखो. जो अभी किसी वक्त कर सकते हो ना, ध्यान से सुन सकते हो, वो फिर किसी और वक्त के लिए मत रखो. फिर कोई और दूसरा वक्त कभी आएगा ही, वो वक्त कभी आता ही नहीं. And you miss the bus. And sometimes when you miss the bus, there isn't another bus coming anytime soon. So remember these things, my dear friends. They really help you. That's why I always say, now, do it now. Now is equal to 1. I will start my assignment from so and so date. वो कभी आता ही नहीं है. And that so and so date comes and goes, and your assignment is left incomplete. And at the end, you're copying from your friend, doing this, doing that. Somehow you manage. I know somehow we manage. But is life about somehow managing or about excelling? Is about just being or living. It's up to you, my friends. You really want to be happy, you really want to be prosperous, you really want to maximize your credentials, start living in now. When you start living in now, you won the race already. And then some of us, we have anger issues, we are frustrated, we are confused about our future. Most of you, if I ask you tomorrow in our session, what do you want to do about, what do you want to do in the future? Can you explain your plan to be for the next 5 years or 10 years? 99% of you will not be even able to utter 2 sentences. Forget anything else. Not even 2 sentences you will be able to utter, because it is so difficult. We don't know. We are confused. We are not clear about what we want to do in the future. How are we going to make utterances when we are not very clear? So these are the aspects which you should start working on simultaneously, apart from doing whatever else you need to do. Learn to manage anger. Let not anger manage you. गुस्से में इंसान हमेशा गलती बोलते हैं. गुस्से में हम लोग कुछ और भी ऐसे बातें बोल देते हैं जो बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. मेन जो मुद्दा होता है ना, उससे हम लोग इधर उधर चले जाते हैं और कुछ और भी बातें बोल देते हैं, जिससे जो मुद्दा है वो ढक जाती है और हमारा गुस्सा सिर्फ दिखता है. So learn to manage your anger. Let not anger manage you. And you can do it. You can do it. You can practice it. Anger management is not as difficult as you think it is. You can manage it. Okay. Now, I think my slide thing has got stuck for some reason. Okay, let me. Okay, it is working now, I think. You're on now equal to 1. Let me see if I can go to my next slide. This is the problem sometimes I face when I have a full slide sharing system. That is why I don't want to share a full slide thing. I think I will stop sharing here. Stop sharing, yeah. Start sharing, but this time I will not go to full slide. Rather, I will do what I think is best. Here we were, I think. You're able to see this, everybody? Can you say yes or no, please? Able to see this, my friends? Okay, I think I see, I can see, yes, okay, great. Now this is next. So how do you manage your anger? I mean, a lot of us, we may be angry and, we may not know how to manage it. How do you manage your anger? How do you ensure that you're able to manage your anger? Before you manage your anger, there are a few things that I think you have to keep in mind. One is, कभी कभी गुस्सा आने वाला है, कभी कभी frustration होने वाला है. You will not always feel on high. Hamesha you cannot be on top of the world. You will sometimes feel depressed, sometimes angry. You will have your mood swings. You will have your anxiety issues. आप ध्यान से भी नहीं सुन सकते हमेशा. Even if the faculty of the resource person is very good, even if the material that is being presented is excellent. For example, I've been speaking to you. 1 घंटा हो गया, देखो कैसे. लेकिन it is still difficult to concentrate, even for this session, no matter how interesting some of you might think it is all right. अगर मैं आपकी जगह होता, मुझे भी बैठ के 2 घंटा सुनना पड़ता, मेरे भी कंसंट्रेशन कभी इधर उधर होता है. It's okay. Accept करो उसको, do not deny it. Because if you accept it, you will know sometimes थोड़ा इधर उधर ध्यान जाएगा, चलो वापस लेके आते ध्यान. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to the zone. But अगर आप उसको accept नहीं करोगे, लोग यार मेरा तो ध्यान इधर चला गया, अभी जाने दो, ऐसा आप सोचोगे. जब आपको ऐसा नहीं सोचना है, you have to accept that we are human beings, we are not machines, we are not perfect. It is fine. It is fine. You will have your, concentration lapses. This is concentration lapse that I spoke about. But you can have similarly anger issues, anxiety issues. You can have a temperamental issue. You may be depressed. Whatever the issue is, you identify it, accept it, and think of ways how you can reduce the intensity. Supposing you are with me right now, and let's say you are listening to me. You've listened to me for 15-20 minutes. Now, after 15-20 minutes, आपका ध्यान चला गया कहीं और, खाने चले गए, घूमने चले गए, या कुछ और कर रहे हो, whatever it may be, speaking to each other. Maybe 2 or 3 of you are sitting somewhere and listening to this as this is happening live. Or you could have suddenly decided to log into YouTube and whatever may be the case. So when such a thing happens and you've seen कि 15-20 मिनट में ऐसा कुछ हुआ है, next time your attempt should be, instead of 15-20 minutes, can I focus for half an hour? So you've reduced the intensity of your focusing problem. Don't try to say 15-20 मिनट में बैठ पाया, 2 घंटा तो कभी होगा ही नहीं, let me not even try. नहीं होने वाला. If you can't concentrate for 15-20 minutes, don't think next lecture you will be able to concentrate for 2 hours on the trot. It's never going to be the case. हुआ ही नहीं आज तक. आपके साथ कैसे होगा जब आज तक कभी हुआ ही नहीं. So my point here is very simple. Do it one step at a time, one baby step at a time. If you do it one baby step at a time, automatically things are going to get better. Learn to regulate your emotions. Don't be too emotional about anything in life. At the same time, don't be cold as a stone also. So learn to convert intolerable emotion to tolerable emotion. By practice, you do that. And first, you have to acknowledge, I cannot stand it. If you cannot stand it, if you acknowledge it, you're no more in denial. When you're not in denial anymore, you're opening up avenues to acceptance. And the road to acceptance may not be immediate, but in the long run, it always works. These are the small things you can do to regulate your anger, to manage your anger. First, accept it, then find ways to regulate it. 3, find ways to slowly bring down the intensity, not at one jump. And 4th and final, learn to stop judging people for what they are. That will help you to convert the intolerable emotions into more tolerable ones. और अगर जरूरत पड़े तो SMS करो भाई. सब WhatsApp करते हैं आज की तारीख में. We are all WhatsApping. I think you should do SMS. This is my gift to you. S for समझो, situation को समझो. M for मान जाओ. अगर समझोगे तो ही मानोगे ना. और अगर जरूरत पड़े, one more S, SMS, समझाओ. SMS. That's the best way of dealing with people. See, you are doctors. You're a cut above the rest. You're doctors in the making. SMS किया करो. आजकल नहीं करते हम. I know we are all into WhatsApp. It's free. But in this case, this SMS is something. This SMS method is something which will really help you in life. S for समझो, situation को समझो. F for से मान जाओ, उसे मान लो, उसे accept कर लो. And then अगर जरूरत पड़े तो समझाओ. The more dialogue you have, the more discourses you have, automatically things will get better. And sometimes if you may be stuck because of something or the other, if you think you're in a crisis, then it is time for a new start. A new start क्या आपको तो पता ही है, but look at my definition of new start. This is my definition of new start. Now I have written over the, if you can see the graph, it says start 2020, because 2020, when the pandemic arrived, our whole perception of life changed post the pandemic. Everything went for a toss. Our lives ran into the cubicles that we lived in. Life got a new perspective post the pandemic. And so, therefore, you know, time for a new start. N for nutrition, E for exercise, W for water, S for smile, tolerance, attitude. Then give yourself adequate rest and recreation. I am never of the opinion कि आप सिर्फ सुबह से लेके शाम तक पढ़ाई ही करो या लेक्चर में ही बैठे रहो या पढ़ाई रिलेटेड बातचीत ही करो. नहीं, आपको रेस्ट की भी जरूरत है, रिक्रिएशन की भी जरूरत है, मूवीज की भी जरूरत है, थोड़ी बहुत दोस्त यारों के साथ घूमने की भी जरूरत है, और कभी कभी शायद एक आध दो लेक्चर बंद करने की भी जरूरत है. सॉरी फॉर सेइंग दिस, teachers and professors, but these are important ways of ensuring that when you come back later, you are completely rested, restored, you've got your recreation, and then you can give your best. And above all, keep faith in whatever you believe in. Whatever you believe in. I'm saying trust in God here is a general term, but what I'm trying to convey is keep faith. Faith is a big thing. Faith is a great leap. Faith is a great leveler. And faith is a great asset and a great tool and a great friend to have. Okay? And now we have come to the end of the first part of today's session. I'm going to give you a break after this. So, a recap of what we have done. Please perceive obstacles as merely or merely a detour to your final goals. Uh, perceive obstacles as merely a detour to your final goal. It can be only an obstacle. Let that not be a demotivator for you. Hope is not a plan. Don't live in hope. Make a good plan. Focus on what you can do rather than not on what you can't do. Live in the present tense and not tense in the present. We can't always control events. So many things happen around us over which we have hardly any control. But we can control our attitudes. We can control ourselves. So keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing. You know, there is a value and a virtue in practicing. The more you practice, like we spoke about that story last time about the farmer, about Lord Indra and the Damru, Shiva's Damru, how practicing and the more you practice makes you such a fine performer or a fine professional in the times to come. And so with that, I think uh, I've finished the first part of today's session. I would like to know how was it? I would like to know your response to it, please. I hope I didn't really waste your time much. Uh, yeah, so that's it. This is it. This is, I think, okay, this is the last slide. So I think I can stop sharing here now. Yeah, and we are back on full screen mode again. Students, those of you who had the opportunity to listen in, Sania, I thank you. I don't know what that means, but I hope it means that this made some sense to you. I hope so. I am really bad at this. Anybody wants to say anything? This is a good time. Anybody who has anything to ask me also, any comments to make, any advice you need, anything around this space that you think you would want to ask me. आप हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हो. I'm not very good in Marathi, so I can engage with you in Hindi and English. कुछ अगर सवाल है आपके मन में या कोई चीज के बारे में कमेंट आपको करनी हो, this is a good time. Dr. Meenal, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
I hope this first part of the session was likable and relevant.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Any students? I think students have no questions at this time, is what I understand from the absolute lack of response. Ma'am, we will take a short break to give them a mental break.
Okay.
And we'll be back in 10 minutes to resume the last part of today's session, which is going to be about the importance of presentation skills. All of you will have to learn about presentation skills and its importance. It's only going to be 25 minutes. Don't worry, I won't take too much of your time. But those 25 minutes, I really want to share another valuable gem for all of you. Before that, we'll take a quick 10-minute break. Back at 10:45, and we resume this session and we talk about the importance of presentation skills and why presentation skills is so important. In the meantime, I am still here. So if some of you want to ask me some questions, I'm happy to answer. I'm going nowhere. I'm with you right here. So I'll wait for some questions to come or any comments or anything else. Or how has been the session so far? If you want to type on the chat box, you can do that as well. We will start in another 5 minutes. This will be our final topic for the day. It's on the screens already in front of you. Okay, we'll start in another 2 minutes. So you can ask your friends to rejoin, those who want to be part of the last 25 minutes of this session, which is really going to work. See, I don't want to stretch beyond uh, the amount of time we need to ensure we do maximum justice to you. To me, that's more important than actually sitting for 2 hours. I would rather have you sitting with me for an hour, hour and a half, and learn what you would learn in 3 hours elsewhere. We'll be starting in another minute now. In the next minute, we'll start. I think now we can commence this last leg of today's session. Are you all able to look at this presentation on your screens? Some of you can just type yes on the chat box, so I know you're able to look at this presentation on your screens. And it will also tell me that you're back with me. So, yeah, are you able to look at this presentation on your screens? My friends, can you please type? Hello, everybody. There we go. Are you able to see this particular screen on your chat box? Are you able to see my screen on your monitors? Okay, are you with me? Students, are you back? Are you with me? Okay, okay, okay. No, what about the others? Are you with me? Okay. Are you able to see the screen on the chat box? Can you type on the chat box whether you're able to see the screen or not? Okay, okay. I can see some response. Fine. I think at least you're able to see the screen. I think I can start my session now. Okay. Now, in the life of all of you, in the life of all of you will be dealing with presentations. The presentations have become a part of our lives now. What I've been conducting online with you for the last 4 sessions, 3 sessions, actually, today's the third session. Uh, it's nothing but presenting, right? These are PPTs that I'm presenting on Zoom, and you're able to see it on the other side. Now, that really is what presentation is all about. Now, for you to be able to present well, it's a nightmare, I know, and therefore you have to wake up from it. Imagine I'm speaking to so many of you for the last 1.5 hours now, almost, and none of you have till now spoken a word to me. Nobody has even said hi to me or hello to me on air. And repeatedly, when I'm asking you, you're not even answering, right? In two or three, the same people are saying yes, yes, yes. All others have just switched on, and God knows what you're doing. Can you imagine if you were in my place, how difficult a situation it is? Because I can't see you, I can't control you, I can't monitor you, I don't know what you're up to. And yet, I have to, as a professional, do my best and give my best. How do I do that? I do that by ensuring that my presentations are at a level where they're able to attract audience participation. Even if they're not being vocal about it, at least they're plugging in and they're doing whatever it takes. But before we get to the details, let me share some statistics with you, which might surprise you. Okay, I think, you know, let me stop and start again. This is the problem with full slide mode. That's why I avoid it. Okay, let me go full slide, resume the slideshow. Let me now. This is the data I wanted to share with you. Every day, there are more than 400 million users, more than 400 million users the PowerPoint, more than 4 million presentations every day, a million presentations per hour, and most of them are unbearable. You can't even read what's on the slide because most of the times the presentations are so boring, they're not at all interactive, and therefore they become absolutely unbearable. So, why does this happen? Why is it that speaker after speaker, professional after professional, is not able to engage the audience in the manner in which he or she should? Is it the fault of the audience? Not always. It is the fact that a presentation is not the PowerPoint. You are the presentation. See, when I'm talking to you, the PPT, the slides that you see are supposed to be in the background. And I'm the one who is supposed to be in the forefront because I'm supposed to be the one dealing with my audience. It's all about your audience. Audience is never wrong. Never judge your audience. Just because some of you or none of you are responding to me doesn't mean you're not interested or you're not plugged in. Or you may have your own reasons, you may have your own compulsions. Maybe you're shy, maybe you're nervous, maybe you have stage fright. Maybe you may not want to be the first one to come on air and talk about it. Maybe you're scared. No, how will I speak to sir in English like he's speaking to us? Whatever may be the reason, I have to understand that it's all about the audience when I am giving a presentation. It's not about what I know. It's not about a PowerPoint, that fantastic PowerPoint you keep reading from it. If you have to read from a PowerPoint, then you don't need anything else. You read from the PowerPoint. What is the need for anything else? So a presentation is not the PowerPoint. You are the presentation, and it's all about your audience. Your audience should feel captivated. Your audience should feel motivated. They should look at the watch and say, "अरे time इतना जल्दी निकल गया." Sometimes you look at the watch, ये कब lecture खत्म होने वाले? Sometimes you look at the watch, wow, it's so interesting. We can sit for it for some more time. It all depends on the speaker, how he is able to captivate the audience. Therefore, your audience should feel captivated and not captive. कि कब ये खत्म होगा, कब हम निकले. Focus on what your audience needs to know, not what you know. I may know a lot of things. I may want to talk to you about, let's say may want to talk to you about psychological impact of human beings on animals around. I may want to talk about the psychological impact of people on each other. All of that I may want to talk about. How does that make any difference to you? How does it make it any relevant to you? It is only relevant to you what you need to know. So what you know is what makes it relevant, and what you need to know is what makes it relevant for me, who is sitting out here in a session with you. So any presentation uh, uh, is never about the person who is conducting the session. It's always about the audience. What the audience needs to know is what it is all about, and that is something which, once you understand, makes a remarkable difference to how you deliver your presentation. So the next part of what I want to discuss is, if you are excited about what you say, if you are passionate about what you say, if you love what you say, your audience will be too. Look, positive vibes gets you positive vibes, and negative vibes gets you negative vibes. That's really what this is all about. The more positive you are, the more positive the vibes you will get. The more negative you are, the more negative the vibes you get. See, if I am friendly to you, you will be friendly to me. And if I am not friendly to you, obviously, it's going to have a likewise counterproductive thing. Now, what now we'll talk about very briefly what makes an effective presentation. What makes a presentation brilliant or very good at the very least? The content is king, the design has to be appealing to the eye, and the delivery has to be natural, but most importantly, interactive also. Now, when I say content is king, what I'm trying to say is it should be clear. What message I'm trying to convey to you should be clear. It should be simple. It should not be something which is so difficult to understand. It should be simple. It should be progressive. It should talk, one point should lead to the other point. It should not be I'm stuck at the same point and moving around in that same circle again and again, again and again and again and again. No, it should not be like that. It should be clear. It should be simple. It should be progressive. But above all, it should be consistent and reasonable. It should be relevant to your subject. Today we have a topic on which we are discussing. Our entire discussion should be relevant to the topic. If I start talking about something else, Ayurvedic medicines in for tribals, that's a completely different subject. It has no relevance to what we are doing currently. So therefore, your content should be clear. It should be simple. It should be progressive, and it should be consistent also. When I say clear, what do I mean? It's not what I want to say that makes it clear. It's what you understand that what makes it clear. मैं आपको कोई भी हाई फंडा लैंग्वेज में बात कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन अगर आप वो चीज को समझे ही नहीं तो मेरा बात करना बेकार है. मुझे ऐसे करके क्लियर करके बात करना है ताकि आपको अच्छे से समझ में आ जाए मैं आपको जो समझाना चाह रहा हूँ. It should be clear. It should be simple. I should not be using very difficult things, difficult terms, difficult terminology, which is hard to understand. Clear and simple, progressive and consistent. That's how you ensure that your presentation is in place, it's in a happy space. Now, when you make your presentation visually appealing, like hopefully I have made my presentation visually appealing for you, automatically you take more interest, because, it should be simple, it should contain less points per slide. If I give you like 50 points in a slide, you wouldn't know which one to read and which one not to read. And while trying to read all the points, you will not even listen to what I have to tell you. That's a very bad situation to be in. Okay, so you should avoid that. Less text, more meaning. Then, like I said, remember SMS. Samjho, मान जाओ, समझाओ. Such a simple concept. Less text. बट इफ अगर आप उसको सही से समझ गए और सही से मान गए तो बहुत जिंदगी में आपको ये मेथड आप कहीं भी डिप्लॉय कर सकते हैं. सो लेस टेक्स्ट एंड मोर मीनिंग इज वेरी रेलेवेंट and it is absolutely a prerequisite of a good presentation. And delivery, when you're delivering a presentation, like right now I'm on delivery mode, right? Last 1.5 hours I am speaking to you, I'm delivering a presentation to you. You should consider all of these aspects: voice and volume, physical appearance, facial expressions, eye contact, gentle body movement. All of this adds up to make your presentation powerful and relevant. Now we talk about each of these in a little more specific. Now when I say voice and volume, I mean your voice should be soft and effective, and articulation should be clear. मैं जो हर शब्द आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ आपको सुनाई देना चाहिए और आपको समझना चाहिए. सुनाई देगा तो ही समझेगा, right? Therefore, the pronunciation and articulation has to be very clear. Tomorrow, when I see you in class, in college, I'm going to ask each one of you present in the class to just give an introduction about yourself. Introduction means कुछ नहीं, सिर्फ अपना नाम और surname, name and last name आपको बोलना है और कुछ नहीं बोलना है. आप देखिएगा, some of us will not even clearly say our name and last name well enough. That's because our pronunciation and our articulation, we need work on it. We don't always have enough work on it. And we don't do enough practice on it. That's another thing. So you should learn to articulate well. Your pronunciation key should be good. You should not talk flat. You should simplify your voice. And you should not use too much pause, because when you use too much pause, क्या होता है? The fluency suffers. Your fluency suffers. Your narrative has an impact. Automatically you realize that people might get bored, people might lose the flow, people might go elsewhere. And you have to learn to change your volume according to the situation. If you're emphasizing something really important, the volume and the context will change accordingly. Then the physical appearance part of it. You should always dress formally, particularly for presentation scenarios. You should look interested, and you should maintain a calm exterior. What happens is when you maintain a calm exterior, automatically it has a lot of value. And uh, people like to deal with cool people. Nobody likes to deal with people who are hot-headed, who are not calm, who are disabled, who are not wearing the right kind of formal clothes, who don't look interested, who are boring to look at, who are least bothered about what's happening around them. Nobody likes to look at such people. So make sure that your physical appearance is in place after your voice and volume, and your facial expressions. Make sure, my dear friends, that your expressions are natural and comfortable. Don't try to put up an act. People are smart. People will figure out that you're trying to put up an act. Be as natural as you can be. Keep your expressions easy and pleasing on the eyes and the ears, and people will anyway be with you. Now, part of your process is good eye contact. Now, imagine, I am online right now, right? And what if I had switched off my camera for the last 1.5 hours or more now, and continued to just run the slides for you? The impact would not have been the same. You would have still heard my voice. But the fact that I switched on the camera and I'm speaking to you so you can see the slides, you can see me also. So you can see the person, you can see the slides. Automatically, it creates a different kind of experience. Automatically, the experience is more pleasant. The eye contact ensures that you're able to keep a better grip on the person, and whatever the person has to say, you're able to put it in a better context. So good eye contact is important from an audience perspective. If you look at me, I'm looking at you in the monitor, I'm looking at you in the eye. That is a very important aspect of a good presentation. Now, you should be also flexible to answer and any questions that the audience might throw at you. In my case, it's very simple. None of you asked me any questions over 4 hours, so I'm quite in a comfortable space. Maybe the reason why you have not asked me questions is because most of you are not even listening properly to what is happening here. And some of you, I think, maybe you have questions you're shy to ask. And maybe all of you think I'm rubbish, so no questions to ask at all to such a person. Whatever may be the case, I'm quite, it's comfortable for me that no questions are asked. But you will be amazed to know, for some of my online sessions, students like you ask me so many questions. And sometimes after we finish at 11:05 or 11:10, next 20 minutes is all about question answers. I always keep the last 20 minutes of any session for question and answers, because sometimes a lot of interested people have so many questions for you. Now, whenever you're trying something new, uh, uh, whenever you're trying something new, remember, it'll never work completely for the first time. It will not work, trust me. So what you need to do is to embrace the practice. Now, how do you do that? How do you ensure that? How do you ensure that, uh, first of all, you have to accept that it'll never work completely the first time. It never does. Always, nobody's ever got it right straight away. It has never happened. It has never happened till today that everybody's got it right straight away. It takes time. It does take time. So, you know, the more you rehearse, the better you will get at it. Because trust me, it'll never work completely the first time. Now, I've given you an example of Michael Jackson, king of pop, unfortunately no more with us. And he was known to be a complete showman, one of the greatest artists the world has ever seen. And everything he did on stage, everything he did on music videos, everything he did with music was magical, was ethereal. Now, but very few people know that for every 1 hour of stage performance, there were 100 hours of rehearsals. Every 100 hours of rehearsal would lead to 1 hour of his performance on a stage. That really is what makes champions, because it never works completely well for the first time. Trust me, it's the rehearsals. The more you rehearse, the better you will get. The more you practice, the better you will get. Because if you fail to prepare, my dear friends, you're prepared to fail. If you fail to prepare, you're prepared to fail. So the preparation is an important part of anything in life you do. The more you prepare, the better you get, because winners continue where losers stop. There are people who give up very easily in life. They're losers. That's why they give up so easily. But winners will always continue and never stop. And with that, I've come to the end of this presentation. Thank you very much uh, for your time. I hope I've added value to it. There's a one question which I would like to answer. I've been asked a question on how to overcome fear of stage, because fear of stage is real. I'm sorry, I put myself on mute. Fear of stage is real, right? It is stage fright. It happens to all of us. I mean, nobody really enjoys going up on a stage and talking about anything. There is always a fear. Imagine you maybe even scared to ask me questions on an online medium, because you don't know how to ask that question. You don't know how others will respond to it. You don't know whether you're asking me the right questions or not. So many of you must be having questions and you're like, uh, should I ask? What if the question is a silly question? So there is always the fear of public speaking. So how do you cope with fear of the stage? How do you cope with stage fright or stage fear, as it is called? First of all, you have to accept that there is going to be stage fright. Public speaking is always comes with a sense of hesitation. आपको ये एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि तो ही आप इस पे काम कर पाओगे. If you don't accept the fact that there is going to be stage fear, there is going to be fear of the stage. Actually, असल में क्या होता है पता है? हम जब स्टेज पे जाके बात करते हैं ना, it's not about us. It's about लोग क्या सोचेंगे, लोग क्या कहेंगे. We are always thinking of the people around us. What if I go wrong? Somebody is going to make fun of me. What if I go wrong? I'll end up embarrassing myself. What if I go wrong and people will laugh at me? People will make fun of me. Or I would disappoint my audience. I would disappoint my team. I would disappoint my college. I would disappoint the organization that I'm representing. आपको आपके दिमाग से ये सारी बातें निकालना है. You have to remove these things from your head. You have to remove the things which you can't control. Can you control how the audience is going to react to you? You cannot. So why think about it much? मैं कितना भी अच्छा क्यों ना बोलूं, कुछ लोग मुझे पसंद नहीं करेंगे. कुछ लोग ऑनलाइन आके म्यूट कर देंगे, वीडियो बंद कर देंगे और कुछ और ही करेंगे. ऐसे भी कुछ लोग हैं हमारे साथ जो ऑनलाइन आए, म्यूट कर दिए, चले गए. See, when we started, we had 60 people. Now we are down to 45. 15 people came and went. They're not interested. Now tell me, because of those 15 people, should I not give my best to the remaining 45? आप लोग 1.5-2 घंटे से मेरे साथ हो, क्या मेरा फर्ज नहीं बनता है कि आपको मैं अपना 100% दूं? Always think of the positive in any situation, and that is the first thing. लोग कहते हैं कि स्टेज फ्राइट को रिमूव करने के लिए प्रैक्टिस करो, प्रैक्टिस बाद में करोगे, पहले एक्सेप्ट करो. First accept the fact that there is going to be stage fright. Once you accept it, you make peace with it. After you make peace with it, you have to then start talking to yourself, run dialogues. The dialogues that you run is you have to tell yourself, no, what can I do on a stage? What can I do in a public speaking forum? I can give my best. I can try to give my best. I can do whatever it takes so that I give my best. इतना तो आप कर ही सकते हो, ये आपके हाथ में है. You can give your, you do your best. You can do whatever it takes to give your best. At least you can make the effort to give your best, even if you don't land up giving your best. That's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about audience reactions. Don't worry about what can go wrong. If you worry about what can go wrong, trust me, something will go wrong. If you breathe positivity inside you, positive things will happen. If you breathe negativity inside you, negative things will happen. So stop worrying about outcomes. Start thinking about the process that you need to follow so that outcomes are also favorable. That's the first part. So first correction you make is a mindset correction, a thought process correction, because fear is something linked to your psychological being as well. Next, the best way to remove fear is actually to embrace it. Now, what do I mean by that? That's ironical. Yes, maybe it is, but it makes a lot of sense. You're scared of going up on stage and talking, right? Face up to that fear. Go up on stage. Keep going up on stage and keep talking, keep talking. क्या होने वाला है? आप अटक जाओगे. You will get stuck. You will not be able to do a good job. Try second time. Try third time. जिसे हम लोग practice कहते हैं ना. This is what practice is. The more you practice, the more you practice going up on stage, fully knowing that you are uncomfortable there, fully knowing that you're not able to, and this is not your comfort zone. You're not able to give your best. You don't know how to give your best. The more and more you embrace it, the better and better it's going to get. Trust me, practice, 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 practice. The more and more you start going on stage, it's no more an unknown zone for you. It's no more an unfamiliar territory for you. It slowly becomes your comfort zone. And when it slowly becomes your comfort zone, slowly you start accepting the comfort zone. When you start accepting the comfort zone, automatically you start giving your best. I want to tell you one story today, my dear friends. When I was in my engineering, in the second year of engineering, we had to do a freshers welcome party for the first year people. And somehow my friends felt that I am a good communicator. I don't think so I am, but they felt that way. And they should, I'm the one who should go out there and, conduct this event as a master of ceremonies, as an MC, as a comparer for that particular evening, for welcoming our freshers into the college. Now, I had done whatever practice I could do, but in spite of that, when I went on stage, I froze. Fear of the stage fright happened, and I could barely speak, even though people were prompting me from behind. I could still not speak much, and I ended up being so nervous that somebody else had to replace me in the middle of the event. This is a true story. And I was so disappointed. I was so upset with myself. I was so angry with myself. And I was like, why did that happen to me? Even though I had given my best. But believe me, 1 or 2 days later, I started talking to myself. I was 20 years old that time, 19 or 20 years of age, as young as you are now. And I started speaking to myself, and I started telling myself, why did this happen? And I found that I did everything I could. I'd worked hard, I had done my rehearsals, and yet it happened. So it happened. I accepted it. That maybe, I was going up on stage for the first time. That's why I was nervous. Maybe I put myself under too much pressure. I was wondering about how my audience is going to react. All of that. So I said, next time when I go on stage, I will still practice as hard as I practiced this time. I will do my rehearsals like I did next this time, but I will not worry about anything else. I will cut myself off from how the audience is going to react, and I'm not going to be an astrologer to try and predict how it will go. I will be myself. I'll go on stage. I'll do my best, and that's all I can do. And believe me, over a period of time, not only did my public speaking improve and my fear of the stage vanished, you can see today, every second day I'm addressing a new audience. So many different people. You will meet me tomorrow. Most of you will meet me tomorrow for the first time. And yet, when you meet me, you will see there is no fear in me at all. Maybe only a little bit of adrenaline rush. That's a good thing because every time you meet a new audience, a little bit of nervousness is always going to be there. That's a good thing. That's a positive thing that keeps you grounded. But years and years of practice and the fact that I was able to accept that I have gone wrong, I have fear of stage, but I will overcome it by winning the mental battle first, winning the mental battle first, and then the actual physical battle by working hard at my craft to ensure I come out a winner. This is a story I wanted to share with you all because of a question that was asked to me. I thought I should share this with you. That's all I have to offer to you this morning. Thank you very much, all of you, for your time. Really, I'm very grateful to you, my beloved students, for giving us your time. Thank you very much. If you have any questions for me at this stage, I'm happy to take them. If you have anything else you want to say, I'm happy to take them. Uh, Otherwise, I think we can call it a day. I'm seeing you guys tomorrow. We've got fun and games coming up. We've got some interactive employability learnings coming up, and I'm so looking forward to it. And I thank you, all of you, for joining us this morning for this keynote session on professional skills, on personality development. Really, personality is a sum total of all our virtues. So uh, let us get us all together, work on our skills. Let's stay positive. Let us ensure that we remain relevant, and let us envelop ourselves with positive thoughts. Thank you all. Thank you for the appreciation that you've shown me. Thank you very much. I think if nobody else has anything to ask, or if nobody else has anything to say, I think we can wind up this session. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I think some lovely comments are coming. I
Uh,
thank. Yes.
I
Yes.
truly appreciate you, sir. I truly you, sir, and your time that you spent for this session. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
this enlightening session, sir. This will really help our students. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Meenal, and thank you to all my beloved students. I can see the comment section now. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Shreya, Sanket, Shraddha, Komal, uh, all of you. Shifa, thank you. Thank you, Sridhar. Uh, to all of you, thank you very much, Shakshi. Thank you, Komal. Thank you, Sani. I'm personally trying to thank all of you because I know it matters to you. Thank you, Sarita. I can see the chat box is filled up with such lovely, radiating comments. Thank you, Neha. I hope I haven't missed out on anyone. So please, if I am, please, I ask for forgiveness. I'll thank you in person tomorrow. I think, ma'am, the Thanksgiving is over from the heart, and I think we can call it a day for today. And I'll see you all tomorrow in person. Good morning, everybody.